Hey guys, Paul Rick here. Welcome back to the Baseball Dad Show. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you a hitting philosophy that I just learned from a young coach that I just absolutely love. And it's something that you can apply to your son or to your team that absolutely changes kind of the way hitters look at hitting. So we'll explain it. But before we get into that, head on over to baseballdadsshow.com. You can link to everything that we have over there. We have, you can set up a time to talk to me. If you want to set up a call with me, you can do so there. There's a link there. Ask me anything you want, no strings attached. You guys send in great questions, but honestly, it's a lot easier for me to hop on the phone and just spend a few minutes with you and answer your question in a complete fashion. We also have a link to a scorecard that you can see if your son's ready to play at the next level. An email dialogue that you can download, step-by-step, word-for-word, cut-and-paste dialogue, where you can ask your son's coach for more playing time without looking like one of those dads. And also our course, which we're super proud of. It's called The Guardian. It's the first course ever created specifically for baseball dads that will help us as fathers through this game of baseball, help raise our sons into the great men, fathers, husbands, and leaders of tomorrow. So you can link to all that at baseballdadsshow.com. So I'm excited for this because I love things like this. I love simple things that can change perspective. And oftentimes, like, the simplest ideas are the ones that we overlook because they're like simple. But it's also, when you look back, I promise you, if you look back over the things that the concepts or the ideas that really changed your life, you'll look back, I'll bet you most of them were very, very simple. I don't know many people that were transformed with complex concepts and complex ideas, right? It's usually like simple things that, like, a light bulb goes on, or you get an insight through the way somebody said something or the way somebody communicated something. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, yeah, I get it now and I got it. Or that makes better sense. Or, yeah, now that you say it like that, I can look at it a different way. And it does, yeah, it looks a little better that way. So here it is. It's a hitting philosophy that this coach teaches to his team. He has a couple tournament teams and, like the whole academy travel ball scene. And so he says to him, you have three options at the plate when we go up to the plate. You can hit the ball hard, you can hit a ground ball, or you can walk. And then he says, and if you strike out, it's fine. Now, that is so simple, but let me break that down for you. So I can't tell you the number of times, me as a coach and being around other coaches, hearing coaches talk about, we strike out too much. Strikeouts are bad. Nothing happens on a strikeout. Strikeouts, pitchers, you don't put the ball in play and nothing moves. Offense gets stalled. Offense gets stopped when we strike out. And I look back at the things I've said as a coach, and it's like every time you focus on striking out or what we don't do as hitters, it's almost like, pink elephants, right? Like, don't think of it. It's like, well, that's kind of where your mind is going. It's what you're talking about. So what we measure, our players make important. And if we're measuring how many times we're striking out, well, our players are going to try not to strike out. And how well does trying not to strike out work? But in this coach's philosophy, he starts with the positive. So there's a little bit more to it, right? There's a little bit more to it in practice. I'll break this down. Number one is you can hit the ball hard. And so part of that is he gets all of his players based on and the reason why we got into the conversation is based on our training in our hitting courses. He gets all of his players to understand their strike zone, understand which pitches they can hit hard and which pitches they can't. And then to have the discipline to lay off pitches they can't hit hard early in the count. And just a key in on trying to get a good pitch to hit in each at-bat. So if number one is keying on getting a good pitch to hit, the first option is you'll hit the ball hard, right? Number two, you'll hit a ground ball. So what he teaches hitters is that, look, if you're not, like, he's okay with you taking two low and outside pitches and being 0-2 if you're a 240 hitter low and away like Ted Williams was. He goes, I don't want you swinging it at a low and away pitch. I'd rather you be 0-2 and have the discipline to be 0-2, because now we're going to switch. 0-2, we're going to fight. 0-2, we're going to fight, and we're going to hit the ball on the ground. That's your job. You get into a 2-strike count, you're going to hit the ball on the ground. You hit the ball on the ground, everything kind of moves, the ball gets put in play. We know that teams that strike out less and put the ball in play more win more games. And then 3 is you can walk. You can walk. So if you don't get your pitch and you don't get a good pitch to hit, you walk. Now, I want to break down the brilliance of this. Did you miss what I missed? It's a big one. It's a huge one. Did you miss what I missed from that philosophy? What's missing? What didn't he talk about? He didn't talk about results. He didn't talk about hits. He didn't talk about doubles. He didn't talk about any of that. He didn't talk about it. You can hit the ball hard, you can hit a ground ball, or you can walk. So he didn't say hit the ball hard and get a base hit. You hit the ball hard right at shortstop. He didn't say you hit a ground ball, you get on base. You might hit into a double play. That's baseball. Or you can walk. Now think about that. The brilliance of it is focusing on those 3 things. Now I have spent my life in this game as this coach broke down this system for me. I loved it. And I didn't really know why I loved it until I realized what was left out. And it was left out on purpose, brilliantly left out on purpose. In no place and time did he talk about results. So he's got his kids focused on hitting the ball hard, hitting the ground balls, or walking. And as long as they're doing one of those 3 things, he's not measuring the result. He's measuring those 3 things. And then if you strike out, it's okay. In other words, here are 3 positive things you can do. And they might not all have the outcome in the way the game is played, but we're going to focus on doing these 3 positive things. These are the things that we're going to measure. And then if you try to do those 3 things and you strike out, well, it's part of baseball. That's okay. And now think about how brilliant that 4th one was. If you strike out, it's okay. Because again, simplicity, there's brilliance in simplicity. Think about it. If you tried to do those first 3 things, if you tried to hit the ball hard, so in other words, you had plate discipline. You didn't swing at bad pitches. You didn't swing at pitches out of your zone. You had plate discipline. That's how you're going to hit the ball hard. You're going to get a good pitch to hit. You're going to get your pitch. Number 2, if you try to hit a ground ball, which means with 2 strikes, you hung in there and you put the ball in play. And number 3, if you had the plate discipline to draw out a walk. If you tried to do those 3 things at the plate, if you really tried to do those 3 things, and you still struck out, okay, fine. Because now you've at least understood what we're trying to do. You understood an offensive strategy that if you play that offensive strategy, I don't care if your season is 15 games long or 162 games long. If every hitter on your team played out that offensive strategy, I guarantee your strikeouts will go down and your offensive production will go up and you will win more games. To me, I love this so much as a hitting philosophy. It's just brilliant. It's a positive focus. It's a process-focused system in that it's not focused on the outcome, right? It's all positive, and it's not focused on whether you got a hit or not. It's not focused on batting average. It's not focused on any of those things. It's focused on a process of hitting. And then it also is things that fundamentally players over time will see that when you do these things, you're going to win games. Because they're going to see that when you hit the ball hard, when you're disciplined, you hit the ball hard, you're going to get more hits, right? You hit the ball with authority, more balls are going to get through, going to go into gaps, right? You're going to get more hits. If you put the ball on the ground more, kids are going to see, right? You're going to beat out some ground balls. The other team's going to throw some balls away, right? Whatever, balls will find their way through the infield, right? So we all get that, right? We get that good things will happen. And then walks, right, are always good. And it played out over the course of a season, your team will buy into that philosophy once they see it start to work. And if you take all the pressure off of striking out, That if they do those three things and they strike out, and it's fine. That's just part of baseball. You struck out. Okay. But you tried to do these three things. You did your best to run our offensive philosophy. And okay. Like, that is a complete, total mental shift. I had a business teacher that used to say, little hinges swing big doors. And this hitting philosophy, I think, is a very simple little hinge that can swing a huge door for your team. So you can hit the ball hard, you can hit a ground ball, you can walk, or you can walk. And if you strike out, that's okay too. Also too, just remember that number 4 was not an option, was not one of the options. It was 1, 2, or 3. And if that happens as a result of trying to do those, fine. So just great hitting philosophy. I love it. Simple, process-oriented, positive driven, and he's measuring the things that he knows that if this team does over the long haul, if they do that day in, day out, they are going to win games and be successful. Absolutely love it. So head on over to baseballdadsshow.com. Everything we talked about before is linked over there. Thank you guys so much for listening. Love you guys. You're awesome. And we'll see you back here next week. Thanks.